I think because as we were growing up, I mean, I don't think the church ever did this, but I don't know. There was like a class system. It's like there's the servant people here, and then there's like the managers here, and then there's like the pastors and like the super leaders like
Yeah.
up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as growing up, I'd look at the leadership class of the church, and I'd be like, I actually don't think I want to do that. I don't know if I could ever do that. I didn't even think about the calling to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I just felt, I think, the most comfortable in this servanthood class. And we were probably,
Same here, yeah.
I don't know, it was like probably a good 30 to 40 hours a week, like hands-on, real ministry to
Yeah.
people. So so then what happened was this crazy thing when I got baptized in the Holy Spirit. When did you get baptized in the Holy Spirit?
Oh, I was about 17.
Okay.
It was on the football field at...
No way.
Yeah, it was on the football field at one of these camp crusades that was going on at King's Cathedral. And so they had a big, huge tent up there, and literally, like, I got hit with the power of the Holy Spirit, and my heart was just like on fire. But I didn't know how to speak in tongues. I was actually kind of embarrassed to do it. And so everybody was just like, just say blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, blah, 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 blah. But my heart was on fire. That's how I knew that I was baptized in the Holy Spirit, because I really wanted the Holy Spirit to be inside of my heart. I always cry. But I knew the Holy Spirit was shifting things. I mean, he didn't shift it like right away, but I knew he was shifting a lot of things in my heart right at that time. And so when this Japanese guy came up to me and he said, just say blah, 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 I was just like, I don't know if that's even right, in my mind. I'm just like, I don't want to say this. It's kind of embarrassing. And so what I did was I just said blah, 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 blah. But then something hit my heart, and I just started speaking in another language, which was like shoroba ba 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 korobo, and my heart literally linked up with my voice, and something happened that moment. And I think my spiritual prayer language, or my tongues language, was being developed at that time.
Wow, I've never heard that story.
Yeah.
So what, you were at like football practice?
No,
they were
I
having
wasn't,
like a revival.
No, I wish
like
it was on football practice. That would have been the story of a lifetime, where I just got a sack. And the whole game, I carried the entire team, and we won. No.
So I remember I got baptized in the Spirit. I was about 14 or 15,
Mm-hmm.
and it was after service. They called everybody up if you wanted to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, and I was kind of nervous because I was like, this is so weird. I don't know how I would ever do this. And they were kind of like, just keep your mouth moving. And I was like, like make some noise or something. And I was like, okay. And somebody laid hands on me, and that was great. And I remember that I was kind of like, and then the worship started. And I started singing la 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 ba 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 la ba, and the syllables started coming, and the same thing happened. My heart broke for God, and I remember thinking, I love you, Lord, so much. Like, it was like for me, it was melody. Melody is what made the baptism of the Holy Spirit.
I remember worship music playing at the same time.
In the background.
In the background. Yep.
And I remember that summer, I couldn't stop playing the ukulele. I couldn't stop singing and telling God how much I loved Him.
I couldn't stop dancing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was working at a hotel. And I was working at a hotel at that time, and I was what do you call porter, which is a glorified busboy. And so we would set up all the banquets. We would take the food in the back, and I remember going to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. That was the call time, and I remember parking my car on the side of the road
At the hotel?
At the parking spot.
Oh.
I remember parking in the parking lot, which was, next to the road. And so I remember getting out of my car, and I remember turning up some kind of music. I might have been Ron Canoli or Pastor Chris's songs, but I just remembered. I said, I'm not embarrassed to dance before the Lord. And when I at that moment when I was dancing, I remember crying and telling the Lord, all I want to do is just serve you my whole life. I don't want to be a pastor. I don't want to be anything. All I want to do is just serve you and be serving you the rest of my life. And so that was the beginning. That was the journey of my life. And of course, we've gone through a lot of things that made us not want to serve the Lord. But I remember those moments, and those moments actually kept me moving in the hard times.
Well, for me, I started singing crazy things. Not, it wasn't like vows. I wouldn't be like, well, I vow to you, blah blah blah.
I give you my left leg.
No, it was like
Put your right
I
leg
want
in.
to. It was like, Lord, I want to go with you. I want to go with you wherever you go.
Oh Lord, that's a big prayer coming from
I
you.
didn't know. I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Maui. Like, my mom's a teacher. My dad was in the army. I was like, I don't know even what this means. I had to have another vision for my life. I wanted to go to college and be an engineer. Like normal people, they like have careers.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I was raised. So I had this normal vision. And then after the baptism of the Holy Spirit, I was like my heart comes alive and I can't stop singing, but I'm singing these like, I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything.
Oh my Lord, be careful of what you sing, because the Lord has taken, now looking back, the Lord is taking us to some pretty hard places.
Yeah, anything type places. But it wasn't like I was like, I want to do this to achieve for you, God. It was really out of a real deep love that, like, I knew that God saw me, and I knew that He saw me seeing Him.
Yeah.
And I knew that my song mattered to Him. And so through my teenage years, I was like, okay, awesome, God. But like, you ask me all the time, what's your dream? Like, I never dreamed of being a pastor. I never dreamed of being in full-time ministry. I am just crying. I never dreamed of, I didn't even know half the things I've already done with my life. When I was 15 or 16, I didn't even know that it existed. I didn't even know you could do it, half the stuff we've done. So for me, I wasn't ministry, but I lived to minister.
Right.
This is that's most craziest thing.
Yeah, that's all that mattered to us when we first got saved. I just want to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
I just want to give Him my everything. I just want to be there. When He shows up, that's when I want to be there. When He comes in, that's when I want to be there. And so what I did was, just in case He would show up, just in case, I would serve youth. I would serve in whatever, young adults.
Intercessory prayer,
worship team, offering. I mean, being a usher. I would serve in all those things, setting up tables next to the church. Just in case the Lord would show up, just in case His presence would grace us. I wanted to be there when He showed up.
For me, it wasn't, I don't know if it was about Him showing up. It was about obeying my mom. I mean, for my mom, she volunteered me literally for everything.
Yeah.
So she kind of was my planner. And so for me, it was what our family was doing. So because it was what our family was doing, that's where I was going. And as a mother, she was always kind of like discipling me, like, okay, Rachel, it wasn't like, Rachel, do you want to be the Sunday school teacher for the 8-year-olds? It was like, you're going to be the Sunday school teacher for the 8-year-olds. And she would say, do you have your lesson
Your
ready?
mama was gangster.
She was gangster. She was the old G. We'd be driving to church. She'd be like, do you have your lesson ready? And I'm like, ooh, what lesson? You know?
Yeah.
And so we would put together a 3-point lesson.
See, my mom would do that, but like on the spot, she would tell us, you're going to be singing this song. And I barely knew the song. And she goes, it goes like this. Mose, Mose, tata, because we went to a Samoan congregation, you know. Tatalo se vai, esalmenene tuai. That just means, Moses, take your sandals off because the place where you're standing is holy ground.
Wow.
And literally, she taught us the motions as we're walking into the church. And I'm just like, no, don't let us do this. And
But
my
you
mom,
did it.
Oh, my mom looks at us and goes, follow me. And I'm just like, okay. And so we're just marching up there. Mose, Mose, you know, and we get up there and we do this whole, you know, offering thing. And I'm just like, afterwards, I was just like, don't ever do that again. But that wasn't the last time she did it. So we got baptized that way into.
So, but by the time I turned 18, I moved I moved away from home, away from my home church, and I had to find another church, obviously because I was at university. And I remember when I was in university, I struggled like hard because I couldn't find a church that what had the expression, first of all, the baptism of the Holy Spirit and speaking of in tongues was like scandalous in that area. And I had a hard time fitting in. And by the second semester of my freshman year, I realized, like, if I don't find God somehow here, I'm going to die. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Were you more like trying to find God or trying to find the things that were familiar in attaching to God?
All of it.
Okay.
I mean, who, as an 18-year-old, who knows the difference?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think that's the gift of the church.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we're supposed to be like Lone Ranger in a corner somewhere trying to find God on my own. Like, that's probably the most healthy legacy that I have from my mom and my home church.
Yeah.
Was that, like, you can find God on your own and with community, and we are going to do this as a company together always, and it's going to be normal life. Like, so that was the hard thing, is I'm in college and I don't have the full support system, and I'm trying to convince myself to adjust to the support system that the Lord starts bringing through to me. God started bringing them, like a campus pastor from Chi Alpha Ministry. His name was Kirk Rohde. Probably one of the best, sweetest leaders, he and his wife, that I've ever served under. I mean, humility to the max. Discipline, gentleness, consistency. I mean, he called my dorm room to follow up on me at least twice or 3 times a week my first semester.
College students need that.
Yeah. I mean, he was that for me. And he was the one who asked me to start bringing my ukulele to lead worship during prayer meetings when I was 18 years old. And I did. But see, the thing is, when I was a teenager, I never qualified for the worship team. Like, I was never, I don't know why, but I wasn't invited to be a...
No, I think that the answer is you were never good enough.
That's it.
Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
a lot of people kind of skirt around that. But if you realize you weren't good enough, you can heal your heart.
Pray for me, Melissa.
Show that
Pray
up.
for me.
Lord, right now we just pray for Rachel's healing, Lord God, in that area.
Let it go, God.
All the pastors that denied her singing on the microphone.
Not that. They didn't deny me. It just, I didn't make the cut.
No, you weren't good enough.
I wasn't
you
good
weren't
enough.
good enough. I think that's a good reality to actually start from. Is to say, hey, I wasn't good enough.